If the vaccine works, then how can the unvaccinated possibly pose a threat to the vaccinated? What exactly is the risk to the vaccinated from the unvaccinated?
I don't think it should be mandatory. I wouldn't demand to be mandatory, but I would do everything in my power. Just like I don't think masks have to be made mandatory nationwide. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin. It's been an emergency rule to require all employers to ensure their workforces are fully vaccinated.
We don't want to mandate and try and force anyone to take a vaccine. We've never done that. We don't want to be mandating from the federal government to the general population. It would be unenforceable and not appropriate.
Can we mandate vaccines across the country? No, that's not a role that the federal government, I think, even has the power to make.
I just don't believe in forcing anyone to get a vaccination that doesn't want. The answer is no. We aren't going to do it. We aren't going to have a split society. But I just don't believe in a vaccine certification, and neither does our chief medical officer.
I've called on the federal government to develop a national vaccine passport.
I have asked to look at mandatory vaccinations for federal employees.
This is a temporary tool that we won't use for a day longer than we have to.
But the bottom line is, if anyone who doesn't have a legitimate medical reason for not getting fully vaccinated chooses to not get vaccinated, there will be consequences. There will be consequences.
There will be consequences.
We're deploying 60 Canadian Armed Forces members to testing centers. This will help stop the spread of the virus.
So it's not as simple as simply saying, we've decided to vaccinate everyone and you have to be vaccinated in order to work here. In most cases, it's still not legal. It could be a human rights violation to impose a vaccine. And a lot of these employers are potentially doing it simply thinking, well, we're going to do it regardless of the legal liability. Do let employees go because they did not get vaccinated. They'll have to pay them severance, potentially as much as 2 years' pay. It is potentially a human rights violation to require a medical procedure and also to distinguish as between people with COVID and without COVID.
Those who are hesitant, it's time to get your vaccine.
If they can force you to take a vaccine that you don't need, what can't they do? Why should you be able to stop that from happening? Why should you have any say at all? You're not a doctor, you're just a parent, and you have no power. If you're no longer in control of your own body, and what gives you the right to control your child's body?
I've never seen this intensity of anger, and that is really scary.